right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have Hailey Rae on from Scottsdale, Arizona. I said that correct, right? Hailey Rae?
Hailey Rae Ostrom.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me. Excited
Yeah.
to be here.
Yes, ma'am. So I read you grew up in Bend, Oregon. At what age did you start playing golf in Bend, Oregon? And how did you get into it?
As soon as I could walk, basically, my dad had sawed off one of his old putters, and then he would go out and play like 9 holes in the afternoon. He would drop a ball on the green while he's finishing the hole and just let me do whatever. So as soon as I could walk, I was on a golf course. But from there, I took more interest and started to learn the game and then got competitive when I was 9.
Got
Your dad was pretty heavily involved. Did he play golf in college or anything?
No, he didn't learn golf until later in
Uh-huh.
life. He was a downhill skier his whole life and a baseball player. So
Okay.
he took up golf kind of the way everybody does. Eventually, you're like, oh, this is a sport that I could play forever. It doesn't hurt me, it doesn't hurt my body. And he just always really encouraged my brother and I to chase something. And so for me, he saw that naturally I was pretty good at golf and just kind of paved the way and let me think that it was my decision the whole time, even though
Mhm.
really he just presented it that way.
I'm going to debate doesn't hurt your body. Me and Sam went to Topgolf a couple days ago, last week, and we were there for, I don't know, 2.5 hours, way too long. And I woke up the next day, my left side was sore.
That's what we talked about right before you came on. I'm like, man, maybe it's just I'm sore because of the ass whooping I gave him, or
Okay.
it's just, or I
I'm
just
sure
tried
that was it, for sure. Yeah.
or I just was
Yeah.
trying to hit the ball as hard as I could for 3 hours in a row. So
Yeah. No, I guess you can get sore. I mean, if I take, time off, if I'm traveling a lot and I haven't touched my clubs in a while, the first time out, the next day it's like my neck is kind of sore from like swinging the whole time,
I
but
had
you're not going to
blisters.
get seriously injured.
I mean, I still have a bad wound.
A blister.
Get those soft
It's an
hands.
intense sport.
Yeah. So when you started golfing competitively when you were 9 years old, what's that look like? How do you golf competitively as a 9-year-old?
In Oregon. Is it
In Oregon, yeah.
cold and rainy, right?
So there's what they call COJA. It's Central Oregon Junior Golf Association. And my dad, he took over COJA and he joined the board before I was even a part of it, kind of to see what it was all about and help grow COJA. And then like when I said it, when I turned 9, he took over as president and he took it from like 30 kids in Central Oregon. By the time he left, there were 300, which is a lot, especially considering there were basically 3 girls competing when I was young, the same 3 girls. We just grew up together playing, and we ended up having a full field of young girls, and they had a scholarship opportunity each year. I think they still do, that he created for one female and one male golfer to try and make it into college. And yeah, it was just a short season, obviously, just the summertime. So we would play every Monday. We would play against kids our own age.
Did your high school have a golf team?
No, I don't think so.
So
I think it was
they
just her.
presented a golf team, but we didn't really have a full team. So my team, my freshman year, we had a team. And then after that, it just slowly, like it was just me and one other girl. Whether she showed up, you never knew. It would be tournament day and we'd be like chilling out front waiting for her, me and the coach, and she'd just say, "Oh, I'm not coming." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So it was just pretty much me. I tried to actually transfer and just compete at a different high school because we always wanted to beat the other high school in the area. And they had a great golf team. And if I was on the other high school's team, we could have stood a chance. But because they offered the team, I couldn't transfer without actually transferring schools.
So you would just in high school, you would just show up at tournaments just by yourself and just play
Yeah.
just as
Yeah.
singles?
So I would compete as an individual
Yeah.
from my school, even though we didn't have a team. So you need 4 scores to complete a team score. So
Okay.
I would just compete as an individual.
Uh-huh.
And I would practice. It would be me, the coach, and then sometimes my dad would come and like, take a break from work and come check in, whatever. Or I would practice with the men's team. But honestly, like
Was the coach
some
any
of them
good?
I'm still friends with. They probably watch this. They're not very good.
Was the coach very good?
He was a good coach. He's kind of like a grandpa to me. So we ended up like his daughter, I call an aunt. So
Okay.
his daughter and son-in-law are like aunt and uncle to me. So I've known him my whole life anyways.
Mhm.
I don't know anything about his golf game. He wouldn't practice with me. He would just kind of like watch over, like set up drills
So
for
you've
me.
never seen him hit a ball?
And no, I honestly don't think I have.
way.
I've seen him putt.
That's how I like to coach.
But
I can coach anything.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be a great golfer to be a great coach.
No, I
but
agree, but like
yeah, it was
to never see
a
him
lot
hit,
of quality time.
to never see him hit a golf ball, I feel like that's a little bit.
Our golf coach
Not-
in high school would go out and golf with us.
Wait, you were on the golf team in high school?
Yes, sir.
Where is this? This isn't
Yeah.
even true.
I'm just waiting to pull everything.
Ben, we need to fact check this. I'm not buying this shit for a second.
Dead serious. I got in a little trouble my freshman year or sophomore year because someone from the other team said I was drinking a 40 during a golf match.
Probably were.
I don't think
You
I
probably
would.
were.
I mean, I might have because I did have a fake ID, and the only beer I bought was Tall Boys and 40s from this one Shell gas station. It was the
Like Colt 45s or what?
no King Cobras
Oh.
and or Miller High Lifes.
King Cobras.
Obviously.
Is that malt?
Yeah,
King Cobras.
they're not bad.
Ben knows about King Cobras apparently.
And then I got expelled my junior year, so I didn't make it through the golf season. So it was a quick career. I went out on top.
Did you play as a senior or no?
No, I
You were on to.
didn't make it through that high school. But
So you were on the freshman team, got in trouble for 40s, and then never played again.
no, I played my sophomore year.
Okay.
So I played 2 years, and then I would go back and forth between number 3 to like number 5 on the team. So number 1 and 2 play 1 and 2 from the opposite school, then so on and so forth.
I get how it works. Thanks.
Well, based off your performance at Topgolf, I just want to make sure I explain everything clearly to you.
Haley, just to be clear, like anytime actual golf shots were needed at Topgolf, I beat them. If we're playing like the stupid Angry Birds game or the blocks game where you literally just
Have to shoot for precision.
just hit the ball in, like he would win those.
But yeah.
Okay.
So I did.
You're like the putt-putt golfer.
Yeah.
I mean,
He is.
he's scared to get on the course. We're going to the Masters in a couple of weeks, and we have an opportunity to play.
It's
that,
cold here. I golf in only pristine conditions.
Yeah, I'm not a fair weather golfer. I'll get out there, in the climates.
Knock yourself out.
I'm a fair weather golfer now.
See?
I don't want to golf when it's too cold. I'm like, I grew up doing that. I'm good. I'll just golf when it's sunny and 70 outside.
I get it. I totally understand that.
I mean, I'm just lying here,
I know.
but
I know.
So how did you end up going to college to play golf if your golf team was one of one?
So I was still competing as an individual. So
Okay.
colleges still look at me like she can play, and
Mhm.
I was still placing in these tournaments. I
Did
just
you
wouldn't
wanna-
have a team score.
did
So
you wanna play
have an
golf in
individual
college?
score and a team score. Yeah. We went and visited tons of colleges. We did
Yeah.
I wanted to go out of Oregon.
Okay.
Get me out of the rain, out
Sure.
of the cold. I said California. So I toured all these colleges and just nothing really felt right.
Mhm.
So I kind of got discouraged. I had scholarship opportunities, but they were so far away. And I wanted to stay close enough to home. My brother is younger than me. I wanted to stay close to him. And one of the colleges that gave me a full ride was an all-girls school. That really wasn't going to work for me. My dad really tried to push that one, but
I bet.
no, that wasn't going to do it. So George Fox, it was kind of a last minute thing. Once again, my dad presented it to me like, maybe you should check out this school.
Mhm.
It's close. It is in Oregon, but he's like thinking of everything good that I would like. It has a baseball team. I loved baseball.
Mhm.
So he's like, it's got a baseball team. It's got this, it's got that. So we went and toured it, and it was only 3 hours from home. So I could still come back home, see my brother, watch him compete in his senior year of sports, and kind of be close with the family. And then my grandparents lived really close, like 30 minutes away, if that. So my grandma would come visit me. She picked me up from college when I turned 21 and took me out for my first legal drink.
Well, there you
She's
go.
a cool grandma. So it was good. It was all good.
Did
But
your dad want you to go there because it was close?
I think he knew it would be a good fit. So it was a Christian university. It still is a Christian university. And I think my parents knew me well enough to know that as soon as I got out of the house, I was a little rebellious as a kid. As soon as I got out, I was going to go crazy. And I did. And they were right. And being at that school, it just was such a good fit for me. I would have made really dumb decisions at Oregon or Arizona State or all these other schools that I had kind of considered just going to and trying out for the golf team. But George Fox was the right choice.
Kept you in the lanes there for a couple of years.
It let me go crazy at what would be considered crazy at that school. So
Gotcha.
I still got to go out and party and make stupid choices and whatever, and make sure I got home at night. Or, I still tried to make the golf team that first year and focused on school still, and like made decent choices that I probably wouldn't have made anywhere else.
So make the golf team your sophomore year. Tell us about the transition in yourself and what happened in between your freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah, my freshman year, like I'm saying, was definitely a transition. So I was having fun, and my coach always said you can only do 2 out of 3 things right. You have your social, your sport, and your school. You can pick 2 out of those 3 things to really focus on, but the other one will usually start to suffer.
I went social
I focused
social and
on
sports.
social and social and social. So my freshman year, I did not make the lineup. I was the 6th player, which meant my score would never count for the team. My coach would bring me to the tournament, so I got to travel and get the experience of traveling. But I was just competing just as an individual, which I was used to coming out of high school. And I just remember I hated being on the sidelines when my team went to nationals. I didn't get to compete at all because you only get your team there. So I stood on the side of the course, like watching my team and just watching it fall apart and thinking, like, if I was in there right now, I know I could do this. And I just didn't want to feel that again. And it was my own fault. I hadn't put in the time to practice, and I was making other choices. So that summer, I just worked my butt off. I worked at a golf course. So I practiced every day, after work, before work. And once school started, I was back at school practicing 2 hours before practice, or I was the last one to leave. And then our first qualifying for the first tournament, I ended up qualifying for the #1 spot. So that was like a huge moment for me. It just showed me that I could do it. I would work harder than everybody else. And I would never say I want it more than anyone, because you never know, but I really wanted it. So
what was the difference in your
kept
scores?
myself in that spot.
Yeah, your freshman year, were you scoring well, or were you kind of sporadic?
I was pretty sporadic. I got sick a lot. Like I had strep throat twice my freshman year. And so
Partying.
that really, I mean, your season, we have 2 seasons in golf and college, and they are so short. You get sick 1 week, that takes you out pretty much 2 weeks, because now you're behind, you're trying to catch up on scores. We had a super competitive team that you can't keep up. So I was very sporadic. I still tried to play in some of those tournaments, and just, it was awful. So some of my scores, I don't even know what they were, but they were really high.
What aspect of the game did you focus on the most in between your freshman and sophomore year?
Short game. Short game, short game, short game. I know everybody says it, but you really can't say it enough. That and the mental game. So I didn't really have any knowledge of what the mental game looked like prior to college. but my coach was super into the mental game. And so I was reading every Bob Rotella book under the face of the earth and working on visualization, journaling, like all the stuff I would have made fun of before and said that doesn't work. That's stupid. Now I believed it and I was doing it and I just put so much time into it. But short game, I rarely went to the driving range. Like you guys talking about 2 hours at Topgolf sounds like my worst nightmare. I don't want to do that.
I had a great time.
I had fun.
So I'm glad you brought up the mental game because that was one of the questions that I want to ask you. What would you do for your mental game during a competition? Like, how did you interact with your competitors, with your teammates, and what was your thought process? And when you were in a tight spot, what was the thought process or the mental game that got you out of it?
So in short, I did not talk to my competitors. I had to change that over time because I used to chat with everybody. You know, you play with the same people a lot, and so you get to know other teams. And a lot of girls, especially, they want to hear about, oh, are you dating anyone? How's this? How's that? If you talk boys to me, like, it's just not going to go anywhere. I don't want to do it. I don't want to, it will distract me. So I had to eventually just stop talking to these girls that I've played with for all these years. And to the point where one of them, one time, she was the one girl, they were a rival school and no one wanted to play with her. So my coach would specifically put me with her because I would be the only one who I had this tunnel vision. And she asked me one day, she's like, have I said something wrong? Do you not like me anymore? And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk during the round. I have to just be in my own world. So for me, it was all about, like, I'm going to focus on this one shot for these 15 seconds or however long it takes for me to hit this ball. And then when I'm walking to my next shot, I'm in my own world. I am looking at the trees, appreciating, the birds or the rabbits or whatever you see on the course, and very much in this like Zen spot, because if you're trying to stay mentally tough the whole time, that's a long time. It gets exhausting. You're going to wear yourself out. You're going to be so tired by the end of your round, and it's unattainable every day of a tournament. So really just kind of focusing and then checking out, not chatting with other people, not getting distracted, just appreciating where I am and what I'm doing, and just treating it like I'm on a walk to the next shot, which I am. But with my teammates, I was pretty competitive. So I had one teammate that I always wanted to beat, and that kind of gave me a little more motivation. But
what about trash talking on the golf course? Well, I think I remember watching when Phil Mickelson played Tiger Woods, on pay-per-view, and they're like, oh, they hyped it up like there's going to be trash talking, and their, version of trash talking was, who went a little left, huh, Bob? Like they're not trash talking like you and I would trash talk, right? But I'm curious, does that happen at the collegiate level, or is it allowed?
No, it doesn't. And you don't want it to, honestly, because you're going to get so caught up in the one person you're talking trash to, but you aren't playing with the group behind you who might actually be doing better than you. So if you're so focused on this one person that you think is going to win this tournament, if it's not you, you're forgetting about everybody else in the field. And you're not competing with those people anyways. You're competing against yourself. You're not directly competing against these people. So you can only control what you can do and control your emotions, and you're just playing the course. So it was hard to learn that because I would try and play the player. If I had a hot girl in my group and she's on fire, I'm like, how am I supposed to keep up with this? I already know she's beating me, and you just have to learn that switch can flip at any point. There's still another round tomorrow, potentially. Like, you just stay in your own area.
Does anyone talk trash? Does that happen in college?
I mean,
I know it goes against the etiquette of the golf course, but I'm just curious if there's any jabs that get thrown out there.
Oh, for sure. You're talking about a bunch of girls. There's definitely jabs that get thrown, but I would say it's within your own team. Like, there's always drama. There's always a prima donna on every team. So there are for sure comments that get made along the way. And I mean, those honestly just fuel the fire.
So you won most inspirational player your senior year. Tell us a little bit about that and what led up to it, and who voted you the most inspirational player, and all of that. Tell us that story, please.
So it's voted on by my teammates, and that award was something I would say it's still to this day something that I really cherish and value because it was voted on by my teammates. So I was co-captain my senior year. I took that very seriously. I wanted to help lead the team to a national championship. And we had a lot of attitude on the team. We had some characters who weren't team players, and it would just drive me nuts because I would watch the way that they would act. And I cared so much more about the team than myself, and they were the opposite. So it was hard throughout the year to kind of shut that down and make sure that it could be like a virus amongst the team, it could take over the team. And kind of just shutting that down, making sure that the team focused on us as a team instead of individuals. So getting voted most inspirational, it showed that, okay, this was a lot of work this year, but it was worth it. And the fact that my team appreciated that and they want to be like that in the future when they're captain, it meant a lot.
How did you cut that cancer out or stop the drama as a team captain in a sport, where you're not the coach, you can't get rid of a player, and so on and so forth? How'd that happen amongst your peers?
I'm pretty confrontational, and so I'm pretty blunt too. So I guess I just go straight to the source. Like, you're being a pain right now. You're not thinking about the team. You have a lot of attitude. We're all sick of it. That's enough. Like, I don't want to see it anymore, whatever kind of thing, which sounds pretty bossy, but I guess it was, but it worked.
Good for you.
Got the job done.
Yeah. So after college, you moved to Scottsdale, where you currently reside, correct?
Correct.
So
how did you know? Yeah. How did you pick Scottsdale?
So there's only like there's only 2 tours for women. One is in Florida and one is in Arizona. So I kind of only had those choices. Florida's a lot further away. It's a lot more humid.
Yeah.
I don't like the weather as much. Arizona, we had a tournament here in college and I always loved that tournament. So it was already at the top of my list. And then it all kind of fell into place. So one of the girls on my rival team, actually, she was moving down here. Her parents bought a little condo and she just messaged me on Facebook and asked if I was still planning on moving to Arizona and offered me a room at their place. And from there, it happened. I don't know. It's crazy looking back because I can't imagine me just making a decision like that now. But back then, I was so willing to do whatever. I was kind of like a yes woman where, oh, you want to go do this? Sure. Like, let's go do that. Let's move to another state. Let's go to Italy. Let's do whatever. It was just, I was kind of down for a good time, no matter what.
Are you still friends with that girl?
Yeah, she moved away, but we lived together for 2 years down here. And she was the only person, I didn't really know her. We only had played golf together a handful of times, but she had heard from her teammate that was thinking about moving down here too. And so she was the only person I truly knew, I guess, but I didn't really.
So tell me about the hole-in-one, because one of my questions was, have you ever got a hole-in-one? And then I, did some reading, and you do have a hole-in-one. And it came at a very unique time, correct?
Yes, that was one of the coolest days. So I was going out to work this tournament and I got a phone call from the USGA saying that I had been turned in for collecting sponsorship money. I was doing social media kind of at the time, and I had Nike. So Nike was paying me a small amount, but I was accepting money from them. Somebody turned me in saying, I'm not allowed to keep my amateur status anymore. She's breaking the rules, whatever. So they said, hey, are you accepting money from any sponsorships? I said, yes. They're like, okay, you either have to give that up or you need to turn professional. You can't compete as an amateur anymore. And I said, fine, whatever. And so I turned pro that day, stressed out, because turning pro means each tournament costs double the amount. I was not winning money at the time. So to me, and I was barely getting by. So to me, signing up for these tournaments now was going to be double as hard. I was going to have to work harder to make the money for it. And I called my dad all stressed out, and he's like, it's no big deal. You were going to do this either way. This is just how it's going to be. You're just jump starting it. I said, okay. And then I went out. I was working this tournament, and I hit a hole-in-one on hole 16 at TPC Stadium the day after the waste management. So all the stadium was up.
Wow.
There was a professional photographer there. And to me, it was just the sign that I needed that, okay, this was the right choice. This all is happening for a reason. I'm on the right path. There's nothing to stress about. And it was just a really cool moment. And the course like gave me the flag, and it was really fun.
Have you hit one since? A hole in one?
I had one at another tournament here. And honestly, I'd never been to that course again. I had never even heard of that course before. And the guys I was with were so lame about it. They're like, oh, it went in. And I didn't know them. And I'm like, wait, it went in? And I'm freaking out, and they're not freaking out. And so it was so lame.
I'm going crazy.
I have
one
other one.
They acted like nothing happened?
Yeah, they were just like, oh, wow, that went in.
Come on,
I think I got a high five. I didn't know these guys, but a lot of guys who aren't regular golfers or understand golf, they think it just happens to pros all the time. Like they ask me, how many holes in one have you had today? That's a question I get all the time. And they're serious, because at first I always thought it was a joke, but it's not.
I got really close one time. The ball was, I want to say hanging over, but it was right there. And I was with my dad. I was in high school. I was also worked at a golf course, and it was closed on Mondays. But we were allowed to golf there on the days it was closed. Went out there and we waited, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, hoping that thing might take a roll. Then I've read stuff and seen things about.
Wait, you waited 5 minutes for this ball to roll?
Mm-hmm.
Like a small earthquake or what? I don't understand what was happening.
And that's what I was getting at. So if correct me if I'm wrong here, but if the sun is directly on the green, you can stand in the shade, and if you stand there for a couple minutes, those blades of grass will move a little bit.
Okay, Bagger Vance.
That's knowledge I don't know.
Well, hang around long enough, I'll teach you a thing or two about golf.
You've watched too many movies.
But it didn't happen. So,
well, that just happened the other day to a PGA player, and he waited long enough and the ball eventually went in. But he waited too long. So it was determined that he waited more than the allotted time. And so he was given the extra stroke.
See? Boom.
But it just happened. It happened like last week.
There's no judges on that course. That was odd. Sucker went in. I was counting it all day long. I still can't believe these guys just, were so nonchalant about it.
Yeah, that's kind of lame.
I would have lost my mind.
It was super lame. Yeah. Super lame. Yeah.
Isn't there some sort of rule where you have to buy a keg or a round of beers?
You're supposed to buy a round for everybody in the clubhouse.
Yeah. Right? Is that the rule?
The person who makes the hole in one, you're supposed to buy drinks for everybody.
I wouldn't have bought them any drinks.
I did not.
Yeah.
I left. I was like, I don't know these guys. This is weird.
So before a golf match, what's your morning routine like? Because generally they start real early, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely the kind of person that would rather get more sleep. So I'm not going to get up super extra early to do any kind of routine. But I mean, of course, eat a healthy breakfast, a full breakfast. And then I just had like a warm-up routine. So I would usually go to the driving range first and do a quick warm-up. It would be a 9-iron, a 6-iron, a driver. That's it. And no more than probably 20 minutes. Like it would take no time at all because you're not trying to find your swing that day, you're just trying to get stretched out. So most of that time I spent on the range was stretching and then hitting a few shots, getting the feel. Okay, feel good, saw a few good drives, good to go. And then the rest of my warm up would be spent on the putting green, getting a feel for the greens. That's where you do need to get a feel for it that day. And then kind of just taking my time. I am somebody who it's less about the warm up and more about just how I'm feeling. So I would walk around. I would walk to the bathroom and back and just kind of get into the right headspace.
Is there a shot in the course that you hate the most? You're like, shit, here I am again. This is my, I hate this spot.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
I used to feel that way, but now maybe it's because there's not so much pressure anymore that it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I'm like, well,
that's where I'm at.
Now I get to try this. But in college, I remember there was a short period where bunkers were just eating me alive, and I just felt like I was lost in them. And my coach told me that I needed to, if I hit into a bunker, the whole walk there, just tell myself, I'm so excited to hit this shot. I'm so excited to show off. I'm excited to show off what I've been learning.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking yourself into it until you go and hit it. And you're like, oh, that was pretty easy. I have been practicing that.
A little self-talk.
I was going to ask earlier if you had any mantras that you said to yourself.
I have a ton. I have a ton. I am very much I call it the inner caddy. Well, Bob Rotella calls it the inner caddy, and I stole that.
Who is it? Who is it? You've referenced him twice now. Who is this Bob what?
Bob Rotella. He is a mental game guru. He's a big sports psychologist in the golf world.
Okay.
I would love to meet him and work with him one day, even though I don't really necessarily need it anymore. It would just be so exciting to me.
Who is the greatest golfer of all time and why?
The greatest golfer?
Yep. And this is going to be followed by your ultimate group or foursome to golf with. So I'm going to give you some mental preparation time for that one. But greatest golfer of all time. Go.
There's so much debate over it, but I would say Tiger.
Okay. And if you could pick a group to play golf with in a foursome, who are you picking?
I hate this question. Everyone always asks this question. I don't know.
It's a great question.
I mean, I would have my dad with me because if I get to experience it, I want him to experience it too. But guys on tour, I would probably pick Tony Finau and Phil, I guess. But to me, it's like I would rather play with somebody past. So Arnold Palmer, that would be so sick.
I think I'm going like John Daly, Michael Jordan, and Tiger Woods.
Yeah, gosh, yeah.
I thought about throwing Kid Rock in there, but
Charles Barkley.
Kid Rock would be so sick.
Yeah. What about you?
I like that. I mean, Jordan would be a blast.
Yeah.
I mean, you better bring a lot of cash.
No.
I would just bring the cigars.
A bunch of IOUs.
Tiger, probably Chuck, maybe.
Yeah. So, when we spoke the other day on the phone, you told me about your fiance, and he is a pro snowboarder, correct? How'd you guys meet?
Correct. We met at Reggie Bush's golf tournament 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
In Scottsdale?
5. It was actually in San Diego.
Okay. And
so we were both traveling.
And he lives in Scottsdale now?
We go back and forth. So he has a house in Utah and Salt Lake. So we go all over. I mean, with his schedule, he's trying to make the next Olympics. So
oh, really?
We are full-blown season.
What's his
all the time traveling?
What's he trying to compete in? Like the half pipe?
His half pipe.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I went to the 2006 Olympics in Torino and watched Shaun White do the half pipe.
Yeah, those guys are crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable what they can do in the air on a piece of wood this big.
It's impressive to watch.
Yeah.
Or carbon fiber, whatever the hell they're made out of. Do you ski or snowboard?
I've been learning to snowboard since we started dating. I didn't grow up snowboarding, even though I'm from Bend.
Yeah.
Everybody, all his friends are like, how did you never learn? But I've been teaching him golf. He was teaching me snowboarding until we just realized this is not cut out for us to teach each other because we're both very competitive. We're very stubborn. So we just would fight after every time we'd go out. It wouldn't be fun. So I hired my golf coach to give him some lessons, and he got me a beginner instructor. And that day was the best day ever. I came back to him. I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, da, 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 da. I was doing this and this and this. And Zom taught me this and this. And he's like, yeah, I told you that before. I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't say it like that. You didn't say it the way Zom said it.
When's the wedding?
In 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness. In where at?
It's here in Cave Creek,
Okay.
Arizona. So it's a country town. It's super cool. We're borrowing a friend's 5-acre property. So
Okay.
we're bringing in everything ourselves.
Gotcha.
Don't recommend to anybody
Yeah.
ever. And we're going to like a little rodeo the night before.
Okay.
And
How many
it's gonna be so
people?
fun.
How many people are coming?
Oh, I think we're at like 215 right now.
It's a big wedding.
We had 320 invited.
Oh, whoa.
We had about
Not my
250
choice.
at mine.
That's a shit ton of people too.
I had like
Yeah.
15.
Well, I mean, a lot of gifts, though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. A lot of people to feed.
Where's the honeymoon?
We're going to Belize.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there you go. I love.
Yeah, we're gonna go fishing there. We've never been, and there's some really good fishing, I guess.
How long is 2 weeks? 1 week?
We're actually only going for a week.
Okay.
That was the only bummer part, but we travel so much that, a week, we'll probably be so tired by the end of all of this chaos anyways. And
Are you going right?
we plan on going to Italy, so
Okay. Are you going right after the wedding, or?
yeah, we're going like a week after the
Okay.
wedding. So we have a little bit of downtime and then we'll dip out.
Hit it.
So I have a question. It could be the most important question of the day. Favorite drinking game on the golf course?
Oh, wow.
Ooh, we usually make 666 into a drinking game.
What's that?
So I like that. That's just each 6 holes is a match, and we play it where it's like you swap partners. So if it's a foursome, like your cart is the first partner, and then the next hole you're partnered with the driver of the other cart, and then the next hole the other person. So you have a different partner each time.
Gotcha.
And then it's like the person you get your own points obviously as a team, but then you're switching teams. Does that make sense? It's a really fun one. I'll write it out and I'll send it to you because this isn't making any sense.
Sounds great. I have not done this, but it seems like it would be a lot of fun. Is every time you chug a beer, it's minus 1 stroke.
It's one way to do it.
But
I'll just rely on my game.
I'm relying on my beer drinking ability.
What about a shot? Is a shot worth 2?
I think that would take. No, I just count it as 1.
We played a game in college, and it was golf, but it was at all the downtown bars. So we picked out 18 bars downtown.
I've heard of this before.
And every bar is a hole, and a beer was worth 3. A mixed drinks was worth 2, and a shot was worth 1. So technically you could score 18, which a few people did, not me. I couldn't do that, but some people don't make it all the way through 18 holes.
I wouldn't.
I think the first time Katie met my family, she just got done playing that game.
Really?
Yeah.
But she was in great shape.
Oh, rare form. It went real well.
Is there a course out there that you haven't played that you want to in the U.S.?
In the US?
Yep.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I would love to play Augusta, but there's not, like, people always wonder what's your dream course, but I think golf can be so much fun with the right people. So to me, it's not really like, yeah, I'll enjoy the course, but I enjoy whoever I'm playing with. So I don't really look too much into like the favorite courses type of thing, or the dream course, the bucket list course. I'll play wherever.
I'd agree with that.
Are golfers athletes? Or do you have to do you have to be an athlete to be professional golfer?
Oh, definitely. To be a professional golfer, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think about it too, the game has changed so much. So they used to say, well, there's a bunch of fat guys on tour.
Yeah.
You know, John Daly was always the number one example of that was he's smoking the whole time, drinking the whole time. But he hasn't been able to sustain that over the years. He still plays, but like he's not in the mix anymore. He's not in it. Where you look at things now and you have somebody like Bryson who took his game to the extreme with his fitness and he put on all this weight and now he's bombing the ball 400 yards. It's made a big difference for his game. And I think it shows. You can't just go out and expect to play great golf being some, fat guy that is out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
You not at that high level. That's for sure.
I think it has changed. I mean, she's right. I mean, since I guess probably Tiger probably started the whole fitness rave but now those guys are.
All of them are in shape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think about the two different tours?
I'm for it. I've been really outspoken with Liv for since before it was even a thing because I think it's important and the golf world was a monopoly for so long that now it gives a little bit more competition as far as the business side is concerned. And there were so many things that needed to change. So I think this is giving the guys the opportunity to get what they want out of it from a tour that was willing to give it to them and a tour that wasn't willing to change at all.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think changes have definitely started to be made and the tours are so different. Like they're not the same by any means. And it's not like you're going on TV to watch Live at the same time as the PGA Tour and you're seeing the same stuff. You're not. You're seeing a team aspect and it's more of like a fun, young, new concept. They're just so different. So I think it's great.
Can you do both right now? No, you can't.
I don't think so.
Can you play in both right now?
Can you do both? No. No.
Interesting.
They're still very much not friends.
But it's my understanding that it's starting to even out a little bit and not be so,
They're in talks. PGA is kind of getting a little lax on. I don't know. They'll figure it out. I'd take the Live money though.
All the best players are on Live now, so it's hard because all the people who they said, well, we still have the best players because this person's not leaving, this person's not leaving. And then all of those people left. Yeah. So at this point, they're kind of just riding Rory and it's not really paying off anymore. And people the PGA Tour is having all these random guys winning now because they don't have the best players anymore. The best players are on Live. Mm-hmm. So the names that you're seeing that are winning each week, a lot of people don't know who they are and it's causing more issues. They're going to have to cave at some point and allow them to play both, I think.
I agree. So over COVID, I watched a ton of golf trick shots because everyone was locked in their house, creating content and doing interesting things. Do you have any sweet trick shots? Like juggling and then whacking the ball or someone else hitting it to you or anything like that?
Yeah, I can do that stuff. It's just a matter of every trick shot is a matter of how much time do you have. So all the trick shot artists, they're the ones that they really are focused on that with their pages like Hole-in-One Trick Shots, Josh Kelly. He is really good at that stuff, but he'll even admit, yeah, I stood out there for 3 hours trying to do this. Like it just takes so much time. So I can juggle and hit it out of the air. Somebody else could hit it to me and I could hit it out of the air. Make it into a cup kind of thing. Like that stuff I can do, but I can't do the crazy like club twirl stuff or catch the ball on the end of the club. I can't do any of that.
There's some amazing ones out there, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like she said, like that's all I do though. Mm-hmm. Sam says you're getting into shooting guns.
Yeah, I've loved shooting guns like my whole life. We've kind of gone out and gone shooting. I carry a gun everywhere I go. All you stalkers out there, you hear that? I'll say it again.
And she's been practicing. We talked about it.
Arizona, man.
I've been practicing. I stay ready. So I just saw yesterday, like all these girls in New York City were getting punched in the face just walking down the street because they were on their phone. Goodness. And I'm always telling people, I'm like, ladies, stay ready. You can't be walking down the street looking at your phone. Unfortunately, we don't have that luxury. So you have to be ready all the time. And I am always ready. But yeah, no, I love going shooting. I love like practicing, and
So
I think it's so fun. It's one of my favorite things to go do.
what type of gun do you have now? And I know we talked about some recommendations going forward. And have you decided on your next pistol?
I think I have decided. So we spoke on the phone and you told me to look into a revolver.
Correct.
And I did look into it.
Like a 38 or
I just there's no reason for me to dislike it other than I feel like it just doesn't look cool.
Fair enough.
So I recommended the hammerless, 357 revolver, and because 357 you can also chambers 38 special rounds, and I just think unless you are almost what you do for a living is shoot pistols, and or you've been in a tough situation where you had to use a pistol. I've never shot my pistol in real life. The remedial action drills is a lot. If you pull the trigger one time, there's tons of lint and stuff from your purse, your pocket, whatever, and you get a stovepipe. Do you have it in you to tap, rack, bang while someone's closing the gap on you, right? Especially if you miss the first shot. That's why I recommend to almost everyone revolvers, because you're going to pull that trigger and that cylinder is going to rotate and those rounds are going to go off. Mm-hmm. And I like the hammerless ones for concealed carry, so that way they don't get caught in anything. Am I a gun expert? Not by any means. They're more of a tool, but that's what I recommended.
So she's not getting a revolver. So thank you for that.
You're right. Like, I trust you in your opinion, and you aren't the only person who I've heard that from. And there is no reason for me to say no. But
so what are you going with?
Right now, I want to get the Rose, the SIG Rose. We spoke about that, the 9mm Rose.
Yep.
Rose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what platform or what caliber is that one? What platform is
9.
it?
This is pretty.
9.
The P, what is it?
P365.
Yep.
I heard good things. Never shot one. But SIGs are great firearms. I love SIGs.
It's a pretty gun.
Yeah, and I don't go for guns like to look girly. So with that gun having the roses on it, and it's got the rose gold, not what I would usually pick because I don't think it's a toy, but it's just it's a cool gun. And that's really what cool gun Louis has right now. He has the regular version of that, and I usually shoot that when we go to the range. I prefer that gun.
She brought up something when we were talking the other day that she has a 22 pistol that she uses, and I recommend. That's something I was going to recommend is getting a 22 pistol just because you can go out and shoot.
Yeah, and not have the recoil and stuff.
And it's the same sight picture. You can shoot forever for a lot cheaper. Yep. And all the principles are the same. All the points of performance are the same. So I'm a big advocate on if you're just going to go shoot, you can use a 22 and save yourself a lot of money because, everything is the same. But how often do you go to the range?
Well, we go through times where it's like in 2 months we're there 4 times or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we'll be so busy that then there's a bunch of months where I don't go at all. So I would say in a year, probably like 8 times, not very often.
Indoor range, outdoor range?
Outdoor range.
Do they have steel that you could shoot? Like head plates?
Yeah, we bring it. Yeah, we bring everything in ourselves.
Oh, wow,
and
that's cool.
We usually go with some friends that that's like what they do. So one of our friends, Brady, he was in the military. I couldn't tell you anything about that. I don't know. Louis could tell you everything about Brady. I don't know any of that, but he now puts on classes, and he's been doing women's classes. So I've been telling all my friends, like, go out there, like, go learn from him. He's great. But we go out there and we just bring everything ourselves and set up, little drills and things.
I love shooting steel. I can't, I just have a hard time getting into shooting paper. Mm-hmm. And I like reactionary targets. Like you get the, the visual.
You hear it.
Yep.
Oh, satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely. So
But not with the 22, because the 22 is so like ding,
Yeah, it's a little
ding.
pea-
And I
little
told
pea
you on
shooter.
the phone, the 22 I carry everywhere, but I have this. I had these nightmares that the 22 wouldn't stop somebody from coming
Yeah,
after me. If there
somebody
was
could
a
take.
guy and, if they're high on something, that 22 is not going to do anything. And a 9 might not do anything, but a 22, a gun will scare somebody off most of the time, but not somebody who's high. So I was having these nightmares and I'm like, I need to get something else. This is a sign to me, I think. I need something stronger.
I would agree with that. I mean,
Yeah,
I've shot a guy.
Somebody could take a couple of rounds of 22.
I shot a guy 3 times with a 5.56 and hit him right in the heart, and he lived. But so the body's a miraculous thing.
It's a great starter gun.
Yeah, it's a great range gun. So, but yeah, get you something a little better. And now everyone knows if you stalk Hailey Rae and or come after, play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes, my friends.
It's not going to end well.
You're going to get lit up.
Stay ready.
You're going to get tightened up.
It's awesome.
Cool.
How well? So people find you. Are you doing a lot of stuff on YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. I kind of kickstarted my channel again about a year ago, and it's been doing really well. So I post on there. I try to do like twice a month, post a long form video, and all my shorts and everything are on there as well. Instagram is my main
go-to
focus most of the time. So all my stuff is just Hailey Ostrom, and
excellent. Well, everyone go
posting daily.
Check out Hailey Rae on Instagram and her YouTube videos, and I'm going to send you some of our drinkware. I'll get it out today, and so you can have some toted around the golf course. And we really appreciate you coming on. We appreciate your time. Jay, you got anything else?
No. Good luck with the wedding and have fun on the honeymoon. I'm excited for you guys. You guys should have some fun.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.